Maya stood at the edge of the bustling city, the evening sun casting a warm glow over the skyline. The vibrant lights of the metropolis flickered to life, illuminating the streets below where people hurried to their destinations. She took a deep breath, inhaling the mingling scents of street food and fresh coffee, a familiar comfort that grounded her in the chaos of urban life. But tonight felt different. There was an undercurrent of tension in the air, a whisper of something she couldn't quite place. Before you skip, just remember, channels like this only survive if you hit subscribe. Otherwise, stories like this one just disappear. As she made her way to her favorite upscale restaurant, the Velvet Rose, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was about to happen. The restaurant was known for its exquisite cuisine and luxurious ambiance, a place where the city's elite gathered, and it was where she had built her career as an event planner. She thrived in this environment, effortlessly juggling the demands of her clients while maintaining her own sense of independence. Yet, even in her success, there were shadows of her past that lingered, memories she had worked hard to bury. The evening unfolded as usual, with laughter and clinking glasses filling the air. Maya moved through the crowd, greeting familiar faces and ensuring everything ran smoothly. She felt empowered, a force to be reckoned with in her own right. But as she glanced around the room, her heart skipped a beat when her eyes landed on a striking figure standing near the entrance. He was impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, exuding an aura of power and danger that sent shivers down her spine. It was Kenji. Her heart raced, memories flooding her mind like a tidal wave. The last time she had seen him was years ago, when she had thought she was free from the grip of the Yakuza lifestyle he embodied. Their love had been passionate, thrilling, and utterly consuming, but it had also been fraught with peril. She had vowed to leave that world behind, to carve out a life of her own, far removed from the chaos and violence that had defined their relationship. Yet here he was, a ghost from her past, resurrected in the flesh. Maya's breath caught in her throat as she watched him scan the room, his gaze sharp and calculating. He had always possessed an intense magnetism, the kind that drew people in while simultaneously warning them to stay away. She remembered how his dark eyes had held her captive, how his presence could ignite a fire within her that she had thought extinguished long ago. But she also remembered the pain, the heartbreak, the reason she had walked away. As if sensing her gaze, Kenji's eyes locked onto hers. Time seemed to stand still as the world around them faded into the background. The noise of the restaurant dimmed, replaced by the pounding of her heart. His lips curled into a knowing smile, one that made her stomach twist with a mix of longing and dread. It was a smile that spoke of memories shared, of secrets whispered in the dark, but also of the dangers that lurked just beneath the surface. Maya quickly averted her gaze, her mind racing. What was he doing here? Why now? She had spent years building a life free from the shadows of the Yakuza, and now it felt as if they were closing in on her once more. She forced herself to focus on her work, but the weight of his presence loomed over her like a storm cloud, threatening to unleash chaos at any moment. "Hey Maya, you okay?" her colleague, Jenna, asked, breaking her reverie. Jenna was a bright spark in Maya's life, always ready with a smile and a joke to lighten the mood. "You look like you've seen a ghost." Maya forced a laugh, trying to shake off the unease that gripped her. "Just a little overwhelmed, I guess. It's been a long week." Jenna nodded, her expression shifting to one of concern. "You sure? You know I'm here if you need to talk." "Yeah, I know. Thanks, Jenna." Maya offered her a reassuring smile, but her mind was still racing. She couldn't let Kenji's unexpected appearance derail her life. She had worked too hard to build her independence, to escape the clutches of a world that had nearly consumed her. As the evening progressed, Maya tried to keep her distance from Kenji, but it was as if an invisible thread pulled her toward him. She could feel his eyes on her, a constant reminder of the connection they once shared. Each glance sent shivers through her, igniting a mixture of nostalgia and anxiety. She reminded herself of the reasons she had left him behind, the danger, the unpredictability, the heartache that had followed her like a shadow. But there was something else, too, a flicker of curiosity. What had brought him back to her? Did he have unfinished business, or was he simply seeking closure? The questions swirled in her mind, battling against the resolve she had built over the years. Just as she was about to excuse herself for a moment of fresh air, Kenji approached her, his presence commanding the space around them. "Maya," he said, his voice low and smooth, sending a shiver down her spine. "It's been a long time." She swallowed hard, her heart pounding in her chest. "Kenji, I didn't expect to see you here." "I could say the same," he replied, a hint of amusement in his eyes. "You look different, stronger." "Thank you," she replied, trying to maintain her composure. "I've been busy. I can see that. You've made quite a name for yourself." His gaze roamed over her, taking in the polished exterior she had crafted. "But I know you're still the same girl I fell in love with." The weight of his words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken history. Maya's heart ached at the memory of their love, how it had felt to be swept away by him, to be cherished and protected, but also how it had felt to be suffocated by the very world he belonged to. "Kenji, she started, but he interrupted her, stepping closer, the intensity of his gaze making her heart race. "I'm not here to disrupt your life, Maya. I just need to talk to you. There are things you don't know, things that are happening." His voice was urgent, and she could see the flicker of vulnerability beneath his confident facade. Maya hesitated, torn between the desire to walk away and the pull of curiosity. "What do you mean? Can we go somewhere private?" he asked, his eyes scanning the room as if he were wary of unseen threats. "I promise I'll explain everything." Against her better judgment, Maya nodded. She led him outside, where the cool night air wrapped around them like a blanket. The sounds of the city faded into the background, replaced by the distant hum of traffic and the soft rustle of leaves in the breeze. "What's going on, Kenji?" she asked, crossing her arms defensively. "Why are you here?" He took a deep breath, his expression shifting from confident to serious. "There's a situation I need your help with. It's complicated, but I wouldn't have come back if it wasn't important." Maya's heart raced at his words. She had left that life behind, had sworn never to return to the chaos that had once consumed her. "I can't get involved in your world again. You know that. I understand, but this is different. It's not just about me. There are others who are in danger, and I need someone I can trust." His voice was earnest, and for a moment she saw the boy she had fallen in love with, the boy who had promised to protect her at all costs. But the man standing before her was a powerful Yakuza boss, a figure shrouded in danger and intrigue. "Trust is a dangerous thing in your world, Kenji. I don't know if I can." He stepped closer, the intensity of his gaze holding her captive. "I wouldn't ask if I didn't believe you could help. You're stronger than you know, Maya. You've built a life for yourself, and I admire that. But I need you to remember who you are, who we were." The memories of their past flooded her mind, the laughter, the stolen moments, the passion that had ignited between them. But with those memories came the pain of their separation, the scars that had formed from the wounds of their love. "You don't know what you're asking of me," she said softly, her voice trembling. "I know it's a lot, but I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe it was worth it. I need you to trust me one more time." His voice was filled with desperation, and she could see the weight of his world pressing down on him. Maya felt a rush of conflicting emotions, fear, longing, and a deep-seated desire to protect him. What's happening, Kenji? What kind of danger are we talking about? He hesitated, his expression shifting as if he were weighing his words carefully. There's a power struggle within the Yakuza. My position is being challenged, and it's putting everyone close to me at risk. I need to ensure that my family and those I care about are safe. Her heart raced at the implications of his words. And you think I can help with that? I'm just an event planner, Kenji. You're so much more than that. You have a strength and resilience that could make a difference. I wouldn't have come back if I didn't believe that. His gaze bore into hers, and she felt the weight of his sincerity. Maya took a step back, her mind racing. I can't go back to that life. I can't be a part of it again. I'm not asking you to be part of it. I'm asking for your help to navigate it. There's a chance for peace, but I need your insight, your perspective. His voice was earnest, and she could see the vulnerability behind his confident exterior. The tension in the air crackled with unspoken words, a mixture of longing and fear. Maya felt the pull of their shared history, the connection that had never truly faded. But she also felt the weight of her own choices, the life she had built in his absence. What if I can't help? What if getting involved puts me in danger? Then I'll protect you, he said, his voice firm. I won't let anything happen to you, I promise. Maya's heart raced at his words, a mixture of hope and dread. Could she really trust him again? Could she step back into a world she had fought so hard to escape? The questions swirled in her mind as she weighed her options, caught between the past and the present. Give me a chance to explain everything, he pleaded, his eyes searching hers for understanding. I need you to understand what's at stake. With a heavy heart, Maya nodded, knowing that her decision would change everything. The shadows of her past were closing in, and she had to confront the reality of Kenji's return. The path ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. This was only the beginning of a journey that would test her strength, her loyalty, and the very essence of who she was. As they stood together in the cool night air, the city lights flickering around them, Maya felt a sense of inevitability wash over her. She was drawn back into Kenji's world, a world filled with danger and passion, and she couldn't help but wonder what awaited her in the shadows of their shared history. Maya stood at the edge of the rooftop, the city sprawling beneath her like a glittering sea of lights. The cool breeze tousled her hair, but the chill in the air was nothing compared to the turmoil swirling within her. Kenji's presence had ignited a firestorm of memories, each one more vivid than the last. She could still recall the way he used to look at her, a mix of admiration and intensity that made her heart race. But along with that warmth came the shadows of their past, the dangers that had forced her to walk away. Before you skip, just remember, channels like this only survive if you hit subscribe. Otherwise, stories like this one just disappear. As she leaned against the railing, she closed her eyes, allowing herself to be swept away by the tide of nostalgia. The laughter, the stolen kisses, the way Kenji would pull her close when the world felt too overwhelming. They had been young and reckless, two souls entwined in a dangerous dance. But the stakes had been high, and the consequences of their love had driven a wedge between them that had felt insurmountable. The memory of their last night together flooded her mind. It had been a typical summer evening, warm and vibrant, filled with the sounds of laughter and music echoing from the streets below. Maya had been so in love, so wrapped up in the moment that she hadn't seen the storm brewing on the horizon. Kenji had been distant that night, his gaze often drifting toward the shadows, as if he were waiting for something, or someone. She had sensed the tension in the air, but love had made her blind to the danger. Do you remember that night? Kenji's voice broke through her reverie, and she turned to find him standing a few feet away, his expression a mix of vulnerability and determination. He had an uncanny ability to read her thoughts, and in moments like this, it felt as if time had folded back on itself. "Which night?" Maya replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "There were so many." "The night I told you I was going to leave," he said, stepping closer. "The night I chose my family over us." Maya felt a pang of hurt at the reminder, but she kept her expression neutral. "You didn't have a choice, Kenji. You were bound by obligations I could never understand." "I thought I did," he admitted, his voice low. "But I've realized that love is a choice too. I chose wrong that night." The weight of his words hung in the air, heavy with regret and longing. Maya's heart ached at the sincerity in his eyes, and she found herself torn between the memories of their past and the reality of their present. Could she really believe that he had changed? That he was here now not just for himself, but for them? "Why are you back, Kenji?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "What do you want from me?" "I want to explain," he said, his gaze unwavering. "I want you to understand why I had to leave and why I'm back now. There's a storm coming, and I need you to help me navigate it." As he spoke, Maya felt a mix of emotions swirling within her: anger, sadness, and an undeniable spark of hope. She had spent years building a life for herself, a life free from the shadows of the Yakuza. But standing here with him, she felt the pull of their shared history, the connection that had never truly faded. "Help you how?" she asked, crossing her arms defensively. "I'm not part of that world anymore. I've moved on." "I know," he said, his voice softening. "But you have insights that I need. You know how to think outside the box, how to see things from a different perspective. I wouldn't have come back if I didn't believe that you could make a difference." Maya hesitated, torn between her desire to help him and the fear of what that would mean for her own life. She had fought so hard to escape the chaos, to build a future that was her own. And what if I can't help? What if getting involved puts me in danger? "Then I'll protect you," he said, his voice firm and unwavering. "I won't let anything happen to you, I promise." His words sent a shiver down her spine, a mix of comfort and trepidation. Did she dare to trust him again? The memories of their past whispered in her ear, reminding her of the passion they had shared, but also of the pain that had driven them apart. "I don't want to be a pawn in your game, Kenji," she replied, her voice steadier now. "I need to know what I'm getting into." He took a step closer, his eyes locking onto hers with an intensity that made her heart race. "There's a power struggle within the Yakuza. My position is being challenged, and it's putting everyone close to me at risk. I need to ensure that my family and those I care about are safe." Maya's heart raced at the implications of his words. The Yakuza had always been a world of danger, a realm where loyalty was bought and sold. "And you think I can help with that? I'm just an event planner, Kenji." "Event planning is more than just organizing parties," he replied, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "You have a unique perspective, a way of seeing things that others might miss. I need that insight." The tension crackled between them, a mix of longing and fear. She could feel the pull of their shared history, the connection that had never truly faded. But she also felt the weight of her own choices, the life she had built in his absence. "I don't want to be a pawn in your game, Kenji," she replied, her voice steadier now. "I need to know what I'm getting into." He took a step closer, his eyes locking onto hers with an intensity that made her heart race. "There's a power struggle within the Yakuza. My position is being challenged, and it's putting everyone close to me at risk. I need to ensure that my family and those I care about are safe." Maya's heart raced at the implications of his words. The Yakuza had always been a world of danger, a realm where loyalty was bought and sold. And you think I can help with that? I'm just an event planner, Kenji. Event planning is more than just organizing parties, he replied, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. You have a unique perspective, a way of seeing things that others might miss. I need that insight. The tension crackled between them, a mix of longing and fear. She could feel the pull of their shared history, the connection that had never truly faded. But she also felt the weight of her own choices, the life she had built in his absence. What if I get pulled back into that world? What if it changes everything? Then we'll face it together, he said. I won't let you go through this alone. Maya took a deep breath, weighing her options. The shadows of her past loomed large, but so did the potential for a future she had never dared to imagine. I need time to think, she said finally, her heart pounding in her chest. Take all the time you need, he replied, his expression softening. But know that I'm here, and I won't give up on us. As he stepped back, Maya felt a mix of emotions swirling within her. She was drawn back into Kenji's world, a world filled with danger and passion, and she couldn't help but wonder what awaited her in the shadows of their shared history. Days passed, and Maya found herself caught in a whirlwind of thoughts. She returned to her routine, but the weight of Kenji's return lingered in the air. Each time she passed the upscale restaurant where they had met, her heart would race, memories flooding back like a tidal wave. She had tried to focus on her work, planning events for clients who relied on her expertise, but her mind kept drifting back to him. One evening, as she sorted through her emails, a message from Kenji appeared in her inbox. "Can we meet?" it read. "I need to discuss something important." Her heart raced at the thought of seeing him again, and despite her reservations, she found herself agreeing to meet. They chose a quiet cafe, a place where they could talk without the prying eyes of the world. As she walked in, her heart pounded in her chest, anticipation mingling with anxiety. Kenji was already there, seated at a corner table, his presence commanding even in the casual setting. He looked up as she approached, and a smile broke across his face, one that made her heart flutter despite her better judgment. "You came," he said, standing to greet her. "I didn't have much choice," she replied, trying to keep her tone light. "You made it sound urgent." "It is," he said, his expression turning serious. "I've been thinking a lot about what we discussed, about the danger I'm facing and how you can help." Maya took a seat, her heart racing. "What do you mean? What's really going on?" "There's a faction within the Yakuza that wants to take me down," he explained, leaning in closer. "They see my connection to you as a weakness. If they can get to you, they can get to me." Maya's stomach dropped at his words. "So this is about me being a target now? I didn't sign up for this, Kenji." He reached across the table, his fingers brushing against hers, sending a jolt of electricity through her. "I know, and I'm sorry, but I need you to understand that I would never put you in danger intentionally. I care about you too much for that." The sincerity in his voice made her heart ache. She had spent years building walls around herself, but Kenji had a way of breaking them down with just a few words. "What do you need from me?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I need your help in organizing a peace meeting," he said, his eyes locked onto hers. "If we can bring the factions together, we might be able to avoid a war. Your skills as an event planner could make a difference." Maya's mind raced at the implications. Organizing a peace meeting between rival factions of the Yakuza was no small task. And what if it goes wrong? What if I put myself in danger? "Then I'll protect you," he repeated, his voice firm. "I won't let anything happen to you, I promise." The weight of his promise hung in the air, and for a moment, Maya felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps this was her chance to help him, to make a difference in a world that had once felt so far removed from her own. But with that hope came the reality of the risks involved, the dangers that lurked in the shadows. I need to think about it, she said finally, pulling her hand away. This is a big decision, Kenji. Take your time, he replied, his expression softening. But know that I'm here, and I won't give up on us. As they parted ways that evening, Maya felt a mix of emotions swirling within her. She was drawn back into Kenji's world, a world filled with danger and passion, and she couldn't help but wonder what awaited her in the shadows of their shared history. Days turned into weeks, and Maya found herself caught in a whirlwind of thoughts. She returned to her routine, but the weight of Kenji's return lingered in the air. Each time she passed the upscale restaurant where they had met, her heart would race, memories flooding back like a tidal wave. She had tried to focus on her work, planning events for clients who relied on her expertise, but her mind kept drifting back to him. Then, one evening, as she was wrapping up her day, her phone buzzed with a message from Kenji. "Can we meet again? I have something important to discuss." Her heart raced at the thought of seeing him again, and despite her reservations, she found herself agreeing to meet. They chose a quiet cafe, a place where they could talk without the prying eyes of the world. As she walked in, her heart pounded in her chest, anticipation mingling with anxiety. Kenji was already there, seated at a corner table, his presence commanding even in the casual setting. He looked up as she approached, and a smile broke across his face, one that made her heart flutter despite her better judgment. "You came," he said, standing to greet her. "I didn't have much choice," she replied, trying to keep her tone light. "You made it sound urgent." "It is," he said, his expression turning serious. "I've been thinking a lot about what we discussed, about the danger I'm facing and how you can help." Maya took a seat, her heart racing. "What do you mean? What's really going on?" "There's a faction within the Yakuza that wants to take me down," he explained, leaning in closer. "They see my connection to you as a weakness. If they can get to you, they can get to me." Maya's stomach dropped at his words. "So this is about me being a target now? I didn't sign up for this, Kenji." He reached across the table, his fingers brushing against hers, sending a jolt of electricity through her. "I know, and I'm sorry, but I need you to understand that I would never put you in danger intentionally. I care about you too much for that." The sincerity in his voice made her heart ache. She had spent years building walls around herself, but Kenji had a way of breaking them down with just a few words. "What do you need from me?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I need your help in organizing a peace meeting," he said, his eyes locked onto hers. "If we can bring the factions together, we might be able to avoid a war. Your skills as an event planner could make a difference." Maya's mind raced at the implications. Organizing a peace meeting between rival factions of the Yakuza was no small task. And what if it goes wrong? What if I put myself in danger? "Then I'll protect you," he repeated, his voice firm. "I won't let anything happen to you. I promise." The weight of his promise hung in the air, and for a moment, Maya felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps this was her chance to help him, to make a difference in a world that had once felt so far removed from her own. But with that hope came the reality of the risks involved, the dangers that lurked in the shadows. "I need to think about it," she said finally, pulling her hand away. "This is a big decision, Kenji." "Take your time," he replied, his expression softening. "But know that I'm here, and I won't give up on us." As they parted ways that evening, Maya felt a mix of emotions swirling within her. She was drawn back into Kenji's world, a world filled with danger and passion, and she couldn't help but wonder what awaited her in the shadows of their shared history. Maya sat in her small apartment, the glow of the city lights filtering through her window, casting a warm hue across the room. Her mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, each one more chaotic than the last. The conversation with Kenji replayed in her head like a haunting melody, each word echoing with a weight that felt almost unbearable. She had spent years distancing herself from the world he represented, yet here she was, contemplating a return to it. Before you skip, just remember, channels like this only survive if you hit subscribe. Otherwise, stories like this one just disappear. The thought of organizing a peace meeting between rival Yakuza factions sent shivers down her spine. It was a task that could easily spiral out of control, and the stakes were higher than ever. She had always prided herself on her independence and resilience, but this was different. This was Kenji, the man who had once stolen her heart and shattered it into a million pieces. The man who still held a part of her, even after all these years. As she paced the room, Maya's phone buzzed, jolting her from her thoughts. It was a message from Kenji, simple yet charged with emotion. "Thinking of you. Let me know your decision." Her heart raced at the sight of his name. He had always had that effect on her, a mix of excitement and anxiety that made her feel alive yet terrified. She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. She could feel the pull of his world, the allure of danger and passion, but she also felt the weight of her own life, her dreams, and the stability she had fought so hard to build. The next morning, Maya decided to take a walk to clear her mind. The crisp air felt refreshing against her skin as she strolled through the bustling streets of the city. The sounds of honking cars and chatter filled her ears, but her thoughts were consumed by Kenji. She passed by a cafe where they had shared countless cups of coffee in their youth, the memories flooding back in vivid detail. She could almost hear his laughter, see the way his eyes sparkled when he talked about his dreams. But those dreams had come with a price. The life of a Yakuza boss was fraught with danger, and Maya had witnessed the consequences of that life firsthand. The thrill of their romance had been intoxicating, but it had also been laced with fear and uncertainty. She had thought she could leave it all behind, but now Kenji was back, and the past was creeping back into her life. As she reached a park, she found a bench and sat down, allowing herself to breathe. She needed to think clearly. What if she agreed to help him? What if the meeting went well, and they managed to broker peace? But what if it all went wrong? The thought of being a target, of putting herself in danger again, made her stomach churn. Maya closed her eyes, trying to find some clarity. She could feel the weight of her decision pressing down on her, and she knew she had to confront her feelings. Did she still love Kenji? The answer was complicated. Love was not a simple emotion. It was intertwined with pain, longing, and the scars of their shared history. Just then, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a call from Kenji. Hesitating for a moment, she answered, her heart pounding in her chest. "Maya?" His voice came through, deep and smooth, sending a shiver down her spine. "I hope I'm not interrupting anything." "No, just thinking," she replied, her voice steady despite the tumult of emotions within her. "I wanted to check in. Have you thought about what I asked?" His tone was earnest, and she could sense the urgency behind his words. "I have," she admitted, her heart racing. "It's a big decision, Kenji. I'm not sure I can just jump back into that world." "I understand," he said softly, "but I need you to know that I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important. This isn't just about me, it's about both of us. I can't let the past dictate our future." His words struck a chord within her. The past had been a tumultuous ride, filled with passion and heartbreak, but it had also shaped who she was today. "What if something goes wrong? What if I become a target again?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "I won't let that happen," he promised, the conviction in his voice sending a wave of warmth through her. "I've changed, Maya. I know I was reckless before, but I've learned from my mistakes. I want to protect you, not put you in danger." Maya felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. She had spent so long building walls around her heart, yet here he was, breaking them down with his words. "I need time to think," she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. "Take all the time you need," he replied, his tone gentle. "Just know that I'm here, and I'll be waiting." As they hung up, Maya felt a mix of emotions swirling within her. She was drawn back into Kenji's world, a world filled with danger and passion, and she couldn't help but wonder what awaited her in the shadows of their shared history. Days passed as Maya weighed her options. She found herself caught in a cycle of contemplation, her thoughts oscillating between the thrill of rekindling her connection with Kenji and the fear of the life that came with it. She immersed herself in her work, planning events and managing her clients, but her mind always drifted back to him. One evening, as she was organizing a corporate event at a high-end venue, she caught sight of a familiar figure across the room. Kenji stood there, his presence commanding attention as he spoke with a group of men. He was dressed impeccably in a tailored suit, his dark hair slicked back, exuding power and confidence. The sight of him sent a rush of emotions through her, nostalgia, longing, and an undeniable attraction. She felt a pull to approach him, to bridge the distance that had grown between them. But as she watched him interact with the other men, she was reminded of the world he belonged to, a world filled with shadows and danger. Suddenly, Kenji's gaze met hers, and time seemed to stand still. The noise of the event faded away, and all she could focus on was him. A small smile played on his lips, and he excused himself from the group, making his way toward her. "Maya," he said, his voice low and intimate as he reached her side. "You look beautiful." "Thank you," she replied, trying to keep her composure. "What are you doing here?" "I wanted to see you," he admitted, his eyes searching hers. "I've been thinking about our conversation, and I can't help but feel that we're meant to face this together." Maya felt her heart race at his words. "Kenji, this is dangerous territory. You can't just come back into my life and expect everything to be okay." "I know it's complicated," he said, his expression earnest, "but I believe in us. I believe we can make this work if we're willing to fight for it." His words resonated within her, igniting a flicker of hope. But with that hope came the reality of their situation. And what if it doesn't work out? What if I get hurt again? "I won't let you get hurt," he promised, his voice firm. "I'm not the same man I was before. I've learned from my mistakes, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to protect you." The sincerity in his eyes made her heart ache. She wanted to believe him, to trust that he could keep her safe, but the scars of their past lingered like shadows. "I need to know that you're serious about this, Kenji. This isn't just a game for you, is it?" "Never," he replied, his gaze unwavering. "You mean everything to me, Maya. I've spent years trying to forget you, but I can't. You're the one I want to fight for." The weight of his words settled heavily on her heart. She could feel the pull of their shared history, the undeniable chemistry that had always existed between them. But she also knew the risks involved, the dangers that lurked in the shadows of his world. As the evening progressed, Maya found herself torn between her feelings for Kenji and the reality of the situation. The chemistry between them was electric, and every stolen glance, every brush of their hands sent shivers down her spine. But she couldn't ignore the fact that his life was filled with peril. Later that night, as she lay in bed, Maya replayed the events of the evening in her mind. The way Kenji had looked at her, the intensity of his words, it all felt so real, yet so fraught with danger. She knew she had to make a decision, and soon. The following day, she finally made up her mind. She would meet with Kenji and hear him out, but she needed to establish boundaries. She wouldn't allow herself to be swept away by his charm without considering the implications. When she arrived at the cafe where they have first met, her heart raced with anticipation. She spotted Kenji sitting at a corner table, his expression a mix of hope and apprehension. As she approached, he stood, his eyes lighting up at the sight of her. "Maya," he said, his voice warm, "I was beginning to think you wouldn't come." "I had to think about it," she replied, taking a seat across from him. "But I'm here now." "Thank you," he said, his gaze steady. "I want to be honest with you about everything. I know the risks, and I want you to understand what you'd be stepping into if you decide to help me." Maya nodded, her heart pounding. "I need to know that you're not just asking me to take a risk for your sake. This has to be about us, about our future too." "It is," he assured her, leaning closer. "I want to build a life with you, but I can't do it without you. If we can bring the factions together, we can create a safer environment for both of us. I want to protect you, not just from the outside, but from the dangers that come with my position." She felt the weight of his words, the sincerity behind them. What if it doesn't work? What if we fail? "Then we'll face it together," he replied, his voice unwavering. "I won't let you face this alone. I care too much about you to allow anything to happen." Maya took a deep breath, feeling the gravity of the moment. "Okay, I'll help you organize the meeting, but I need you to promise me that you'll keep me safe. I won't go into this blindly." "I promise," he said, his expression earnest. "I'll do everything in my power to protect you." As they sat together, the tension between them shifted from uncertainty to a renewed sense of purpose. Maya felt a spark of hope igniting within her, a sense that perhaps they could navigate this dangerous world together. Over the following weeks, they worked closely to plan the peace meeting. Maya utilized her event planning skills, coordinating with Kenji's contacts and ensuring every detail was meticulously arranged. The chemistry between them deepened as they spent more time together, sharing laughter and moments of vulnerability amidst the chaos of their lives. But with each passing day, the threat from rival factions loomed larger. Maya could sense the tension in the air, the whispers of danger that surrounded them. Kenji remained vigilant, always ensuring her safety, but Maya couldn't shake the feeling that trouble was on the horizon. One evening, as they finalized the arrangements for the meeting, Kenji's phone buzzed with a message. He glanced at the screen, his expression darkening. "I have to take this," he said, stepping away to answer the call. Maya watched him, her heart racing. She could see the weight of responsibility etched on his face, the burden of his position pressing down on him. She wanted to reach out, to comfort him, but she knew this was part of the life he had chosen. When he returned, his expression was grave. "We have a problem," he said, his voice low. "One of the factions is planning to disrupt the meeting. They see it as a threat to their power." Maya's stomach dropped at his words. "What does that mean for us?" "It means we need to be prepared," he replied, his eyes locking onto hers with intensity. "I won't let them hurt you. We'll have security in place, but I need you to stay close to me during the meeting. If anything goes wrong, I want you to trust me." "I trust you," she said, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. "But we need to have a plan." The tension escalated, and Maya felt a surge of fear as the rival faction member lunged at Kenji. Without thinking, she stepped in front of him, her heart racing. "No!" she shouted, her voice filled with desperation. In that moment, time seemed to slow. Kenji's eyes widened in shock, and he reached for her, but it was too late. The rival member's hand connected with Maya, sending her stumbling backward. "Maya!" Kenji shouted, his voice filled with panic as he rushed to her side. As she fell to the ground, the chaos around them intensified. Kenji's protective instincts kicked in, and he quickly dispatched the threat, his movements swift and precise. "Maya, are you okay?" he asked, kneeling beside her, his expression filled with concern. I'm fine, she gasped, trying to catch her breath. But we need to get out of here. Kenji nodded, his eyes fierce with determination. I won't let anything happen to you. We're getting out of here, together. With that, he helped her to her feet, and they navigated through the chaos, their hearts racing as they made their way toward the exit. As they burst through the doors, the cool night air hit them like a wave of relief. But they knew they weren't safe yet. Kenji led her to a waiting car, his expression focused as he opened the door for her. Get in, he urged, his voice steady. Maya climbed into the back seat, her heart still pounding as Kenji slid in beside her. Drive, he instructed the driver, his tone commanding. As the car sped away, Maya felt a mix of relief and adrenaline coursing through her veins. What just happened? She asked, her voice shaking. Just a small setback, Kenji replied, his gaze fixed ahead. But we'll regroup and figure out our next move. Maya couldn't shake the feeling of unease that lingered in the air. What if they come after us again? They won't, Kenji assured her, his voice firm. I'll make sure of it. You're safe with me. As they drove through the city, Maya felt a sense of urgency rising within her. She had been pulled back into Kenji's world, a world filled with danger and uncertainty, but she also felt a sense of empowerment. She had faced the chaos head-on, and she wasn't going to back down now. When they finally arrived at Kenji's penthouse, he ushered her inside, his expression serious. We need to talk, he said, closing the door behind them. Maya nodded, her heart racing as she took in the luxurious surroundings. What's the plan? We regroup and strategize, he replied, his voice steady. But I want you to know that I'm not going to let you be a pawn in this game. You deserve more than that. I'm not afraid, Kenji, she said, her voice filled with determination. I want to help you, but I need to know that you're committed to this, to us. I am, he said, stepping closer. I won't let anything come between us again. We'll face this together, no matter what it takes. In that moment, the tension between them shifted. The chemistry that had been simmering beneath the surface ignited into something more intense, a mixture of fear and desire that left them both breathless. As they stood there, the weight of their shared history hung in the air, a reminder of the obstacles they had faced and the challenges that lay ahead. But in that moment, Maya felt a sense of clarity. She was ready to fight for their future, to embrace the love that had always been there, even amidst the chaos. As they leaned in closer, their lips met in a passionate kiss, a promise of what was to come. They were two souls intertwined, bound by their shared past and the hope of a future together. In the days that followed, Maya and Kenji worked tirelessly to navigate the treacherous waters of the Yakuza world. They faced challenges and obstacles, but their bond only grew stronger. With each passing day, they learned to trust each other more, to lean on one another in moments of vulnerability. Maya found herself stepping into a new role, one that combined her skills as an event planner with her newfound understanding of the Yakuza world. She became Kenji's confidant, helping him strategize and plan their next moves. Together, they worked to broker peace among the factions, determined to create a safer environment for everyone involved. As they navigated the complexities of their relationship, Maya felt herself evolving. She was no longer the scared woman who had once run away from Kenji. She was a force to be reckoned with, empowered by her love for him and her determination to make a difference. One evening, as they sat together in Kenji's penthouse, the city lights twinkling outside, Maya looked at him with a newfound sense of purpose. "We can do this, Kenji," she said, her voice steady. "We can create a future together." "I believe that," he replied, his gaze unwavering. "But we have to be smart about it. This world is dangerous, and we can't let our guard down." "I know," she said, her heart racing. "But I'm ready to face it with you." As they planned their next steps, Maya felt a sense of hope blossoming within her. They were building something together, a life filled with love and purpose, despite the challenges they faced. In the end, it was their love that would guide them through the darkness, a beacon of light that illuminated their path. They were two souls intertwined, bound by their shared past and the promise of a future together. And as they leaned in for another kiss, Maya knew that no matter what lay ahead, they would face it together, united by their love and their determination to forge a new path in the world of the Yakuza.